This is Caribbean News Desk. I'm Dennis Shibrol. In today's edition, Haiti erupts into violence after elections are delayed. Caribbean statisticians told to respect confidentiality and strive for independence. Cuban volunteers in Ebola-stricken West Africa dies of malaria. And the cricket pundits scorch West Indies' decision to abandon tour to India. Details coming up.
Caribbean, one people, one nation, facing the same destiny. Though separated we are, as one let's come together. One market economy, Caribbean is how it should be. Let's support carry on for Caribbean unity. It takes you. It takes me for Caribbean unity.
We begin in Haiti, where police have dispersed an opposition-led demonstration at the capital, Port-au-Prince, following an official announcement delaying long-planned legislative and municipal elections. The demonstration began hours after President Michel Martelly announced a decree to defer the elections originally scheduled for Sunday. He also declared that the government would continue consultations with various state agencies to ensure that the vote is held as soon as possible. The Spanish news agency reported that an estimated 1,000 persons marched through the streets with their voter identification cards to protest the postponement and demanded Martelly's resignation for having deferred the electoral process without announcing a specific date for the event. The police used teargas and water cannons on the protesters, who reported cases of brutality. In August, the Organization of American States urged the Haitian authorities to hold legislative and municipal elections, which have been deferred for years, before the end of 2014. Elections to the country's Senate have been pending since 2011, while the mandate for one-third of the senators expired in 2012, leaving the upper house of the parliament with only two-thirds of its members. Another one-third of the members of the Senate, as well as the lower house, will complete their terms in January, leaving the parliament with below the minimum requisite numbers. Local and municipal elections in Haiti have been pending since 2010. The program director of statistics at the CARICOM headquarters has called on statisticians from across the Caribbean to ensure the independence and confidentiality of statistics. Addressing the opening of the 39th meeting of the Standing Committee of Caribbean Statisticians, Dr. Philomena Harrison stressed that statistics should not be tinkered with.
The independence of statistics must be respected and protected. It may be the case in the future that statistics may be the only objective, verifiable evidence existing, and fellow statisticians and stakeholders are urged to continue to adhere to this principle, and in similar vein, the principle of confidentiality of individual level information.
Dr. Harrison also called on government to provide adequate investments in statistics to fuel the data revolution. The meeting is being held under the theme of Data Revolution for Sustainable Development in CARICOM, designing and operationalizing a framework for statistics. CARICOM's Assistant Secretary General for Foreign and Community Relations, Ambassador Colin Granderson, urged delegates to use modern information communication technology to collect and process data to inform decision-making.
ICT has great potential to transform the national and regional statistical systems to inform solutions to the majority of the data challenges faced by our countries. Specifically, technology can cut costs significantly and reduce the time taken to collect and produce the solid data, thus enhancing efficiency. ICT can provide the national statistical systems with the required capacity and durability to produce timely, high-quality statistics to propel and sustain growth.
CARICOM's Assistant Secretary General for Foreign and Community Relations, Ambassador Colin Granderson. Jamaica's Ministry of Agriculture, Labour and Social Security on Friday asked the sugarcane farmers to increase production as a way to make the industry more competitive internationally. Government Minister Luther Buchanan said the cane expansion fund will increase the amount of loans available to growers. Describing the sugarcane industry as the lifeblood of the agricultural sector and rural development, he urged cane farmers to produce more annually to reach a target of 3 million to 3.5 million tons of cane by 2018. The Frome Sugar Factory in Westmoreland expanded its sugarcane plantations under new owner, Pan Caribbean Sugar Company Limited, the Chinese company that purchased the last of the Jamaican government's sugar refineries in 2010. Historically, Jamaica has been a major sugarcane producer, but the island is increasingly an importer of the sweetener. Sugar production in Jamaica for 2004 to 2005 was 125,400 tons, the lowest in 6 decades. China is the latest country that Guyana has asked to help with mapping its mineral resources. Well known for gold, diamond, bauxite, and manganese, the country is said to have good prospects for uranium, rare earth minerals, and precious stones. However, local and foreign investors often have to conduct their own mapping of concessions or risk engaging in costly exploration activities on the ground. Guyana's Minister of Natural Resources, Robert Persaud, says, following the recently held 2014 mining conference he attended in China, that country has agreed to map his country's mineral resources. He says China Geological Surveys will dispatch a technical team to Guyana next January to lay the groundwork for the mineral mapping exercise in collaboration with the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission, or GGMC. Mr. Persaud says the mapping exercise will ensure better targeting of areas.
But what we're doing is we're looking for scale now. We will only be doing based on concession. And it affects planning, it affects recovery, it affects efficiency. Sometimes miners and others, they go into an area, they're not sure what they have to expend millions just to find out there's nothing. Or what they're looking for is not there, and something else is there. And the GGMC then can be able to advise the sector, miners and others. Well, this area, you have X property in terms of resource, space, and that type of thing. It is the way in which the sector is moving across the world. More geological survey work than going blindly into mining. It is to avoid blind mining.
Chile, Argentina, and Canada have also agreed to help Guyana conduct mineral mapping. The Natural Resources Minister stresses that the data will be Guyana's property. Guyana's House Speaker Raphael Trotman has intervened in a bid to break an impasse between government and the opposition over the convening of the National Assembly for the first time in more than 2 months. In letters to the Prime Minister, opposition leader, and as the leader of the Alliance for Change, Mr. Trotman says he has instructed a clerk to convene a sitting on November 6 because the chief government and opposition whips have failed to reach agreement on a date. The Speaker told the clerk in an October 27 letter that the gridlock is untenable and unhealthy because the Assembly has not met since July 10. Mr. Trotman says the failure of the Assembly to meet cannot continue any longer because there is no national emergency. Instead, he says, there are several issues that require the attention of lawmakers. If the Speaker gets his way, it will be the first time that a 65-seat House will have met since the 2-month parliamentary recess ended on October 10. The clerk is already on record as saying that only government can call a sitting of the Assembly. The delay in convening a sitting comes at a time when an Alliance for Change-sponsored no-confidence motion is set to be debated by the opposition-controlled House. The main opposition, a Partnership for National Unity, has publicly stated that its priority is not a no-confidence motion, but getting government to hold long-overdue local government elections. Government Chief Whip Gail Teixeira has suggested that a Donald Ramotar administration is not fearful of convening a sitting or addressing the AFC's no-confidence motion. The Speaker says that he relied on opinions by 2 former speakers, one each from the government and opposition, to ask the clerk to convene the sitting. In essence, the advice states that the Assembly shall meet day by day unless otherwise decided by the members. Mr. Trotman reasons that since the Assembly automatically went into recess on August 10, it automatically came out of recess on October 10, and so the House should have been convened on the first working day. He told the clerk that he has taken full responsibility for the adjournment of the House on July 10 to a date to be fixed, adding that an open-ended adjournment is tantamount to a violation of the constitutional mandate for the Assembly to meet day by day. One of the Cuban volunteers who went to Guinea as part of the medical brigade sent to that African country to fight Ebola has died on Sunday. The Spanish news agency, or FA, says the volunteer was identified as 60-year-old Jorge Juan Guerra Rodriguez, a graduate in economics. He arrived in Guinea on last October 6, and by October 24, he began showing signs of malaria. Cuba's contribution to the fight against Ebola has been praised by the World Health Organization and by UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon, who called the aid effort an extraordinary response. The number of Ebola cases has risen to more than 10,000 in the 8 affected countries, and of those, close to 5,000 have died. Cricket analyst Jamaican Tom Godfrey believes the actions of the West Indies players in India is tantamount to treason and should be investigated. His comments came in light of the players' decision to abort the recent tour to India over the pay dispute.
What I believe, it is a foolish decision and a betrayal by the players of their country, which is next to treason, because when you betray your country, it's treason. And I think that it is as bad as that. I mean, it's a strong word to use, but believe me, I am very passionate about this, and I say it's a foolish decision by the players and a betrayal and embarrassment to the Caribbean countries involved in this cricket. And it could have, which is going to have serious effect on cricket in the West Indies.
Godfrey's views are absolutely supported by former member of the Windward Cricket Board, Felix Gregoire.
There is no fear as far as I'm concerned. What has happened has happened. I cannot change it. Nobody can change it. What I would like to see is some resolution, and in that resolution, the revival of West Indies cricket. That is what I'm hoping. But I'm not afraid, because we write down. When you see, it's like when hurricane passes, we get 200 miles per hour. Everything is flat. Everything goes flat. Okay? That's the way I feel. We've lost everything. Right. So I can't be afraid again. There's nothing to lose, including players. I am not afraid of losing players. Not those players. But it is not my decision. I will go by those who can take that decision. But I'm not afraid of losing players.
The Board of Control for Cricket in India has since suspended bilateral tours with the West Indies and has decided to take legal action against the West Indies Cricket Board. The Windies earlier this month abandoned their tour to India over a protracted pay dispute with the West Indies Board.
We are 15 states with a common goal, a unified purpose to face the world, enriching lives, empowering people, creating a strong economic region. No matter where you're from, no hassle, just freedom. Whether business, school, or pleasure, we will benefit together. The CARICOM single market, good for you and me. The CARICOM single market, good for you and me. The CARICOM single market, good for you and me. Oh yeah.
You've been listening to Caribbean News Desk. You can visit us online at caribnewsdesk.com, facebook.com/caribnewsdesk, or twitter.com/demwaves. We're also on WhatsApp on 592-622-6762. If you wish to advertise on our program, send an email to caribnewsdesk@gmail.com. Thank you for joining us. I'm Dennis Chabrol.